Hi everybody, in this video we will be doing O2 worksheet and loops methods, which is found in ACM Student Files Unit 6 folder and this file. When you click on it, you get this. We will be doing example 4 only in this video. So let's get started. Write a method print even nums that takes two integers as parameters w and y. The method will print out the even numbers from w to y inclusive in the terminal window. For example, when this is the method call 11 to 20, it prints only the even numbers from 11 to 20. So it's going to print 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. But if we feed the parameters 14 and 17, it will print only the even numbers from 4 through 17. So it goes 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, but it doesn't print 17 because that's not an even number. Before we do this, let's go ahead and take a look at the method header to see why that works. So it says that this method takes two integers as parameters, w and y. For that reason, we see two integers as parameters, and in this case I told you to specify them as w and y, so we just say int w, int y, right here. Now, what's the return type? Well, it doesn't look like anything's being returned because this just says output in the terminal window. It doesn't say anything about returning anything. In fact, here it just says it prints out the even numbers. It does not return them. So we have a system.out.print here because it's printing out the numbers, but nothing's getting returned. So because nothing's getting returned, the return type is void. Let's continue with how the code in the method works. So let's just say I wanted to write a loop that printed out the numbers, all of the numbers, not just the even numbers, but all the integers from 11 to 20, like 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, all the way through 20. What I would do is I could make a for loop and go from num equals 11 to num is less than or equal to 20, and then do num plus plus so that it goes up by 1. And then I just print out the number, and that should work. However, what should I do if I only want to print out the even numbers? Well, if the number's even, I could have an if statement in here. If the number, I'll just say num, if num is even, then we print out the number. That way, it only prints the even numbers. So let's try to figure that part out first. So if the number is even, how do I say that? Well, I could say it's divisible by 2. So what operation would I use for that? Well, I would just say if, let me change the font really quick, if num mod 2, so if I divide the number by 2 and it's an even number, what should the remainder be? Well, the remainder would be 0, so I would put equals equals 0. And then I just put in the proper braces, and then it should work. So let me do that really quickly, and I'll clean this up for you so that you could see. There we go. That looks a lot better. So this almost looks right. So now if this goes from 11 to 20, if the number's even, it will print out that number. So that should work for this one. But the problem is this only works for 11 through 20. So it doesn't work if I plug in other numbers. So let's think about this. What numbers do 11 and 20, where are they represented? Well, those are the parameters w and y. So for a more universal answer, I can replace this with w and y so that it goes from w to y. That way, if w is 11 and y is 20, then it will go ahead and print the numbers from 11 to 20. But if w is something else like 4 and y is 17, then when w, y are 4 and 17, it'll just print going from 4 to 17. So this creates a more universal answer. So this is one way to do this problem. Now let's go ahead and explore another way. I'll uncover the code for this, and I don't mind just explaining it. Another way to do this same problem is just to say, okay, if the first number is even, let's go ahead and see what we should do. So if the first number is even, can't we just increment the number? So let's just do that. So if w is, I'm sorry, I meant to say if w is odd, we can just increment the number so it goes up to 12, and then we can print all the numbers skipping by 2. So let's take a look at this. So if w is odd, then we'll just make w go up by 1. So if it's 11, it goes up to 12. And then, now that w is 12, we will go from 12 to y, and remember y was 20. And this time we will go up by 2. So you can go ahead and, hang on, you can do it that way as well. It works for this one too, because if w is 4, so 4 mod 2 is not 0, so it does not increment w, so w will stay as 4. So if it's even, this does not have any effect. So this will go from 4 to 17, but since it goes up by 2 every time, it goes 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and once it prints 16, it will go up by 2, going to 18, but since 18 is less than or equal to y, which is 17, it does not print it. So this is another solution that would also work. Let me go ahead and clean this up a little bit first. If you feel like writing down these answers as is, you can absolutely feel free to do so, because I'm going to erase some of the comments. Right, and there we go. So these are two of the solutions. Let me zoom out just a little bit so that you can see both of these solutions in terms of while loops, if that's what you like. And here we go. So these are basically just similar solutions. So this solution down here is the same exact thing as this one. It's just in a while loop. So we'll just start num as w, while num is less than or equal to y, just same as that condition. If num mod 2 equals 0, print out the num, and then num plus plus, just like here. This solution is the same as this one, except the one down here is in a while loop. So here this if statement is the same, and then this for loop will be changed into a while loop. So num equals w, just like this. Num is less than or equal to y, just like this. Print it out, and then num equals num plus 2, just like this. That's pretty much it for this example. Please go on to the other videos to view the answers to the other exercises. Thank you.